And now, a thought from Mann. Today's subject, reboots. You know, I'm really starting to get tired of reboots. I mean, what's the point of them? Most of them are just there to do nothing. They just make them because they know, hey, it's nostalgic enough to get people to want to come see it. And I just feel like you don't really need to do that. If people are very nostalgic about it, why not just, release the original back in theaters or just release it out to the public again? I just don't feel like you need to make a whole new movie that reboots the original, you know?
It's too much, right?
I, for one, really don't get a lot of these Disney reboots. I mean, they're deciding to reboot Jungle Book, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast. It's like, why? We already have these great classic films, so why do we need to reboot them? I mean, that new Cinderella movie, watching it, there's nothing. There's no real reason to reboot it. The most they did update was the prince. You know, they made him a bit more interesting and gave him some character, but I mean, honestly, they fucked it up because, well, Cinderella here, she can get out. She can easily just leave and go somewhere else. But her excuse is, oh, I don't want to leave my father's house in the hands of those people. And then by the end, she leaves the house. It's like it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And then we got the Jungle Book movie, which, I mean, looking at it, I just feel like, why not animate it? You're gonna CGI everything, you might as well just make it animated. There's no real reason for you to have to do live action. None whatsoever. So, yeah, I just feel like you need to stop. There's nothing for you here. Why don't you do what you did like when you re-released Lion King and Beauty and the Beast? Just re-release them back in theaters. I mean, sure, you did that beforehand, and as it kept going on, you know, sales started dropping. But to be fair, you kept re-releasing the movies that were pretty early, that no one felt nostalgic for. Like, you re-released Cars, of all movies. It's like, Cars, really? No one wanted to see Cars in theaters again. It was a fine little movie, but it definitely wasn't Pixar's strongest. So, yeah, it just feels like you could just re-release these classic films in theaters for people who might want to re-see them in theaters. It'd be a nice thing. You'd get a new generation of fans. Like, I just don't get it. To be honest, with all these reboots, it just shows that Hollywood's losing creativity. I mean, you rebooted RoboCop, you rebooted Total Recall, you rebooted Poltergeist, you keep rebooting movies, and it's just like, can you make something original? Hell, the new Ghostbusters doesn't even look that interesting. I mean, the trailer is just fine, and I mean, I'm gonna see it just because I like the cast. I know Melissa McCarthy, I know Kristen Wiig, I know Leslie Jones, and I know Kate McKinnon. All four of those women are absolutely funny. So I definitely want to see, can they be funny in this film? And it's done by Paul Feig, so it's probably going to be good. It might just be bad trailer. You know, just suffer from bad trailer-citis. But other than that, it's just a dull trailer. It doesn't look that interesting. It doesn't look like it has much of a connection to the original. So it just feels like, do we need this? Do we really need a new Ghostbusters at all, even? I just feel like we're losing creativity here. We need to start pushing to do new things. Like, please, start making more original ideas and start advertising them. They clearly can make you money if you advertise them. Don't just run off of it's nostalgic, so clearly people will go see it. Try to make something original and advertise it. People will see it if you advertise it. It's plain and simple.
There's a bigger picture at hand here.
I mean, rebooting certain movies that clearly failed in the past, that'd be fine. You know, it's a movie that clearly had problems, and now you're just deciding, hey, we're gonna fix those problems and give it to you. That would work. That would be fine. It's like, okay, you learn from your mistakes, and you're just gonna fix those mistakes. Okay, Don't do it to classic films. Ghostbusters doesn't really need a reboot. Cinderella didn't need a reboot. Jungle Book didn't even need a reboot. Total Recall, none of those movies. You just need to stop rebooting movies that clearly were already successes in the past. If they were a success in the past, let it stay a success. You're making it fail by rebooting it, and it's just annoying. It's really annoying. Like, you're just hurting the original now. The legacy that was left behind gets hurt by the reboot. So really, don't just stop. Just only reboot something that clearly failed. If it's something that failed but was kind of a good idea, then go ahead, reboot it. Maybe you got the technology, maybe you have the competence to be able to make it good. So stop rebooting good films.
There's this strange odor today.
Some of these reboots really just completely changed the tone that we grew to love from these classics. Like Jungle Book, and even with this new one, Pete's Dragon, they decide to go with this grittiness, and it's like, it just doesn't feel like it's gonna be pleasant to be in, you know? It just feels like I'm gonna hate being here, I'm gonna feel miserable here. Like, just the trailer alone looks so kind of depressing. It's just like, oh, why are we here? I don't wanna be here. Everything just looks so drab and dreary, and I really don't like that. I don't like gritty reboots for the sake of just grittiness. It's like, if you have potential there, then do it. There's really no big reason to have to reboot The Jungle Book. Pete's Dragon is a little understandable because not many people really knew much about Pete's Dragon. You kind of can get away with that because, well, no one's going to have much of a nostalgic feel for it. Some might, but it's a very tiny amount. But most people will just be like, oh yeah, that movie, I remember that existed. That's about it. But Jungle Book, yeah, you don't need a reboot for it. It's fine enough. Hell, you've already had a live action version of it. And that one you use real animals. That's the weird thing about it. You had real animals in that one. This one you're using CGI animals. So it's really gonna hurt you. So just stop with all these reboots and don't do this unnecessary grittiness. It just makes things ugly. It's just so unnecessary. So all in all, I'm just tired of reboots. I want originality. Disney, you give us original shit when you're making animated movies. Zootopia was so fucking amazing. Inside Out, amazing. Your animation department is booming. But when you do live action, you just kind of show you're not very competent in that field. Maybe back in the day you were, but now it's nothing. And Sony, you're no better. You keep rebooting Spider-Man. And I mean, I don't know what was wrong with just using Andrew Garfield. I mean, I'm still excited for Spider-Man Civil War nonetheless, but you're gonna have to reboot the Spider-Man again, and then all these other ones like Total Recall, RoboCop, and all that. It's like, just stop. In Ghostbusters, I mean, I'm still gonna see it because I like the cast, but I'll admit, it doesn't look much like it's gonna be anywhere close to the first movie, and it doesn't really look like it'll be that funny. Just the international trailer looked a little funnier, it had some funnier moments.
Patty, you take that aisle, I'll take the far one. Let's do this!
Okay, I don't know if it was a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm mad as hell.
But the one they released was just, there was just nothing truly funny in it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I stand with everyone that says stop with all the reboots. We have these classic films for a reason. You don't need to remake them. Even if you want to get a new generation on it, simply just re-release it. Like, put it back in theaters. Give a younger generation a chance to see it in theaters. Put it out on television. Release it on DVD. Put it on Netflix. You have this option to not waste time and money. Just put it out there for everyone else to see it, and there you go. A new generation. The older generation will do your job for you. I guarantee you that. A lot of us are becoming parents. We'll show our kids these great classic movies and let them grow up with it, so you don't really have to worry about the younger generation getting into it. We got it covered. We got it, okay? So just please get back to making original movies. We would love you for it. advertise them as well. Don't just say, here's a new movie and leave it at that, okay? We can't keep looking at indie films to be original. We want Hollywood blockbusters to be original too. So please, get back to making original movies. We really, really want that. But that's just a thought.